So this is Motion Picture Magazine from September of 1930. And it's in incredibly good condition. As you can see, the original price was 25 cents, 1/4, which in 1930 was a lot of money. And it's got Clairbeau's signature right here. It says the 7 deadly sins of Hollywood. Mary Pickford's fighting mad. Mary Pickford was Douglas Fairbanks. That was his wife, and they had one of those famous Hollywood marriages where they combined their names together, so they were Pickfair. That's what they called them. So here we have Clairbeau on the cover, and 1930 was a pretty big year for Clairbeau. In 1929, or maybe it was 27, but the movie It had just come out. It was still pretty fresh on everyone's mind. The movie story written by Eleanor Glynn, and Clairbeau cemented her fame as the star of It, a movie about a woman with incredible charisma. So what I like about this picture is it's in color, so a lot of people tend to forget that Clairbeau was a redhead. So that's just interesting. And we start on the first page, and we have an ad for the brand new Corona typewriter. The company, it's funny here, it says Smith Typewriter Sales Corp, Corona Division. Eventually, as you know, the company would become Smith Corona. But here's your chance to own that brand new genuine Model 3 Corona you've wanted on the easiest terms ever offered at the lowest price ever offered. Complete in every detail. Backspacer, etc. Manufacturer's guarantee. Recognized the world over as the finest, strongest, sturdiest portable built. It shows a guy at a baseball game typing. It shows a guy on a train typing. I don't know if I'd take it to a baseball game. I mean, I can see the train. You know, I can certainly see the kid doing his homework. But a baseball game? Maybe he's like a reporter. I don't know. That just seems weird to me. But $2 down and that typewriter is yours. Look at that beauty. So, you can only find these in the thrift stores, or the antique stores now. Here's something called 10-minute thrills that will add 100 hours a year to your talking picture entertainment. Now you'll like the short subjects too. Why not enjoy all the time you spend at the talking movies? You will if you make sure that the 1 and 2 reel pictures on the bill are Vitaphone varieties. Vitaphone varieties have raised short subjects for the first time to the quality level of the finest feature pictures. All the vast resources that back Vitaphone full-length pictures have been marshaled for the making of this new series of 10-minute thrills. Look and ask for Vitaphone varieties. They will add many hours of real entertainment to your evenings at the theater. And just to give you an example, going to the movies back then, the whole experience included a music number by a famous band or opera, a segment of Ripley's Believe It or Not. I think later on it was a Nostradamus tells, and they had different things like that, you know, gee whiz stuff. Vaudeville headliners, that would be, you know, an act by Al Jolson or something, and then a Looney Tunes cartoon. And look at that old Looney Tunes. Then concert stars, that would be a solo guy, a famous guy playing an instrument, whereas the famous bands would be like Paul Whiteman or something. The concert stars would be Itchek. What was his name? The famous violinist Itchek or Isaac Stern, I think. Concert stars, and a color segment, because you know color. We're still in the time period where many movies coming out are still silent. So, talking pictures, color, these were all like major innovations. Greatest wonder in an age of wonders, talking motion pictures, 1930. I mean, we haven't had too many of these. And here's some coming out. Manslaughter with Claudette Colbert and Frederick March. Let's Go Native with Jack Oakey and Jeanette MacDonald. Paramount Sound News, newsreels. Grumpy starring Cyril Maude. And look at that Paramount logo. Watch out, got a cat coming. Okay, now here we get to the table of contents. You and 60 million others can't be wrong. And this article is, we made Sunny Side Up the most popular motion picture of the past year. You did. With tickets you bought at the box office over the country. So Sunny Side Up was the most popular motion picture over this past year of 1930. So if any of you have heard of Sunny Side Up, leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of it, because the movie's obscure now. As a matter of fact, very few movies from this time period are well known. But we have that looks like Joan Crawford, but Janet Gaynor, Will Rogers, of course. The hot spot of the month. Bibi and Ben were married after passing a love test. It seems like just the other day we were looking at something and Bibi Daniels was all over it. And it was a magazine, I think. It was the magazine that had the big Paramount centerfold that I showed you from, what was it, 1925, that magazine. It was the, oh gosh. Now it's going to drive me crazy if I don't remember. Yeah, the Liberty magazine. Bibi Daniels. Okay, so it's 5 years later, and Bibi Daniels is still on top, but she's getting married now, so she's past that available point. Richard Bartholomew, the Dawn Patrol, greatest air epic ever. They remade this movie with, I think, Errol Flynn and David Niven about 15 years later. But airplane movies were big. In fact, Clara Bow was famous for starring in Wings, an airplane movie that won the very first Academy Award for Best Picture. Here's letters to the editor. $20 letter. $20 letter. Movies highbrow. Oh yeah. So here's someone complaining that movies are too. What's the word? Too highbrow. Is that the expression? It's not used very much, but it means too academic. $10 letter, and they call this progress. They're talking about cliches in movies. I wonder why the movies still cling lovingly to the following: the husband who, whatever his station in life, kisses his wife and family when going to and coming home from work. Real men don't. The wife, and I don't agree with that. I kiss my wife every day before we go to work. I kiss her before one of us runs an errand, and every night before bed. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, the wife who never can tell her husband about the little stranger except by knitting little booties and pressing them to her bosom when he comes home. No, I kind of agree with that one. London scenes, which always have a hansom cab lurking around. Such things went out a quarter of a century ago, and it's 1930. The little tin basin and rag which every heroine produces like a magician as soon as her man gets hurt, and the bandage he wears around his head no matter where the injury is. Okay, this is kind of funny. The habit of leading men, lifting and carrying their leading ladies. The villain who always stands with his back to the door while locking it, and his habit of seducing the heroine at a roadhouse instead of some secluded spot. It's high time something was done about discarding these moth-eaten fragments of hokum. Okay, this was written in 1930. How many of those things still happen in movies now? Oh, gosh. That's why, in case you haven't already figured out, that's why I love looking at these old magazines. And free coupons galore and everything. There was free stuff. Buy that magazine. It was like a bag of tricks. You just had free things every issue. This is a course on effective speech. Chicago Exposed. The inside story of why Jake Lingo, Chicago Tribune reporter, was killed. Complete in the September Real Detective Tales. Wow. The reporter who blew the lid off Chicago. I wonder if that's based on a true story. Well, Jake Libbo was shot down and killed on high noon in the heart of Chicago on June 9th of this year, and the sensation was felt throughout America. So yeah, it was a real thing that they were already serializing. In the Starry Kingdom, this is like a little index of people who were famous for certain reasons, and I recognize a lot of names. Let me just focus real quick, and you can kind of Mary Astor, Jean Arthur, Lou Ayres, John Barrymore, Richard Bartholomew, Warner Baxter, Wally Beery. I mean, my goodness, I recognize every single one of these names. Clara Bow recently completed Love Among the Millionaires, Paramount Studios. Marion Davies, William. If you've seen The Cat's Meow, that's William Randolph Hearst's mistress. Joan Crawford, Mommy Dearest. Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Janet Gaynor, Al Jolson. Here's an ad for 17 perfume. Joan Bennett is plugging it. The gossip test. Hollywood knows the answers to these questions. Do you? Who is the originator of the statement, their freshman attempt, and to whom does it refer? And you will find the answers to these questions on page 119. So it's a lot of trivia questions. Norma Talmadge. Who's playing French Courts of Norma Talmadge? None other than William Farnham. Boy, yeah. Radio Pictures Challenge, the entertainment world. Cimarron, Dixiana. The Hollywood Circus, a continuous performance. Making fun of the Hollywood lives of the rich and famous. Lynn's Bridge Contest, $15,000 in prizes, including a round trip for two to New York, from New York to France, with a motor trip through northern Africa. Wow. Beauty is romance, says Mrs. Biddle Stewart. She was very pretty in that picture, but that's not Biddle Stewart. That's Lupe Velez. Tragic story about that. If you ever look it up, this is also an ad for Pond's Cold Cream, which actors use to take their makeup off. Love this blue tone. You just don't get pictures. You don't get quality. Look at how it picks up the light. Look how it reflects because of the metallic in the printing process. It's almost like a metallic. It's beautiful. Claire Luce, Neil Hamilton. Now we get to the sepia tone. Zazu Pitts. Interesting. I would never consider her glamorous. She was usually a comic in short films with Thelma Todd and Patsy Kelly and some of the other ones. James Hall. These are pictures that you could literally pull out and get autographed if you came across these. Raquel Torres. Mary Pickford. We were talking about her a second ago. And Richard Bartholomew. Talking Pictures. We've just now started the magazine. I love how well this magazine has held up for so many years. How clear and crisp all these pictures are. Mary Pickford's Fighting Mad. A bomb is set off under the absurdly generous players and producers. I think it's something to do with the Motion Picture Relief Fund. And if you listen to the Radio Broadcast Vault, Henry's channel, you'll hear a lot of his old radio shows from this time period, raising donations for that. It was literally a home for old Hollywood people. I don't know if it still exists. Fay Ray. You might recognize her from King Kong. Diet Quickies. 3 stars tell how to lose weight fast without fasting. Here we go again. We've been talking about this for 80 years and 90 years, and have we really figured anything out? Making talkie. Gary Cooper. Adolf Menjo. And this is interesting. I'm going to read this caption here. He walks on down the long, long hall of fame. He is alone. No one approaches him. Sometimes he is Julio, sometimes the Sheik, sometimes Monsieur Bouquer. Once he came back as Monsieur Bouquer after 2 inactive years. There were 4 more pictures and then the tragic ending. 4 years have passed since that fateful August day. An age, an eon in movie land. An instant, a fraction of a moment to Rudolph Valentino. If you don't know who Rudy Valentino was, he was no comparison. I mean, he was in the 1920s. He was the actor, the most popular, desired, just absolutely adored actor. People, when he died at a very young age in 1926, it was appendicitis that killed him. People fainted, literally. It was insanity, and they're still kind of obsessing over him. Marriages in the movies. A little article about that. Every girl should marry at least 1 millionaire, says Constant Bennett. Hi there, hello there. We're talking Gary Cooper here. You might have heard of him. He's a very famous actor for many years. Now we get to the real Clara Bow. She's a Girl You Have Never Seen Before by Elizabeth Goldbeck. This is an article about Clara Bow, and like I said, 1930, she was still enjoying her heyday. I'm going to take some coffee here. Hold on. Sorry, a long day at the office. To get through this video, and after this video I intend to answer comments. So if you're watching, if you got your comment answered, yeah, I'm meaning to do that after I get done with this. I have always liked Clara Bow. I've watched many of her movies, and I've always thought of her as a very unique actress that is yet to be. I don't think there's been anyone who's stepped into those shoes. So that's definitely, she was definitely old Hollywood glory. He has learned his lesson. Robert Montgomery proves the importance of being earnest. Most of these articles are kind of fluffy. I mean, most of this is not news per se. We've already kind of covered a lot of the news. A lot of this now is deep fandom, tabloidy kind of gushy articles, but nonetheless, it's still really cool. Look at the cartoons. Look at the styles. Even the fonts are different. Irene Delroy. I'm particularly love the way they do these pictures. Buddy Rogers. Built with a widow's might. Gloria Swanson reveals what a widow calls home. Gloria Swanson was in the movie with William Holden, and was it Sunset Strip or something like that? And she played an aging version of herself. And that movie was made in the 50s, I think. Discoveries about myself. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. finds that he still has a Napoleon complex, as told by Douglas Fairbanks Jr. And we get more movie blurbs about stuff in the box office. Lon Chaney and I think that, yeah, I think these are the titles. Yeah, these are the titles of the movies. Most of them are quite simple. Breaking new ground for divorce. You'd be surprised at what Hollywood tells the judge. Foretelling of things yet to be. Yeah, marriage was complicated in Hollywood from the get-go. You look at people like Charlie Chaplin, Mickey Rooney. A screenshot. Are you buying the clothes that people wear in the movies? Real estates, show places of a show town. And back then, how much do you think a house like that would cost? About $40,000 back then. An ad for Palmolive, 10 cents. The Kitty's Corner. Can you spell expatiate? Mitzi can. Does he even know what expatiate means? Shy and sincere, Una Merkel believes in being herself. The way to be winning is revealed to Catherine Albert by Lila Lee. It's an After Lux toilet soap. Colgate. Look at this toothpaste ad. Ribbon dental cream, because tooth powder was still something that existed, so toothpaste wasn't commonly used. Here's quick reviews. All Quiet on the Western Front, a saga of youth, disillusion, and sudden death, tragedy at its best with magnificent acting. A lot of these pictures are long gone. I mean, The Divorcee, actually, have it, yeah, in my pre-code collection by TCM. I have to show you that. The sensational ex-wife made believable movie Norma Shearer superb as the woman who tries to live like a man. I actually have that movie. And that's about it. Trademark stars are known by their tags. Buddy Rogers, Adolph Manjot. As long as the danger line keeps healthy, there is little danger of pyorrhea. Start today using Scribb's dental cream for its help to protecting the delicate danger lines. I guess that's a dental disease you didn't want back then. This explains what it is. You don't hear that anymore. Pyorrhea. The danger line, I guess it's gum disease. But if you got Scribb's dental cream, you wouldn't worry about it. See the old toothbrush? Look how far apart the bristles are. Coffee time. So good. Okay. More reviews. No, they're not really reviews. They're promotional shots. So it's very posed, very, very deliberate shots of stars. Kellogg's All Brand. The Answer Man. The Answer Man has conducted this department for over 18 years. He will answer your questions in these columns as space permits, and the rest by personal letter. Give your name and address, so if you have questions, he'll answer them. Into your cheeks there comes a new mysterious glow. Princess Pat. Now you're talking, the fans speak up for themselves. Why the grudge against Clara? I've tried to hold my peace, but I can't refrain from commenting on the way you treat Clara Bow. What did she ever do to you? Not only to you, but to any Scream magazine. Either in plain-spoken words or insinuating veiled hints, you speak anything but everything but nice about Clara. Her voice is okay to me and to everyone else except the writers of the fan magazines. In one story, you say the Clara Bow punch is giving away to poundage. If this is true, the weight you give to inquiring fans must be all wet. According to the weight you give, she is slim and not fat. Your magazine is excellent, excepting your wise cracks about Clara. However, I've learned to skip over them. She's the most popular girl in America, so please lay off her. So that's an angry fan, but isn't it funny the manner of grammar back then? A new kind of makeup developed by Hollywood's makeup genius. Now ready for you. Marion Davies, Joan Crawford, Anita Page, Max Factor. New loveliness instantly with 3 preparations of Maybelline makeup. Vacation special with free travel package of 6 Modus Compact satisfies all summer requirements. Johnson & Johnson. Mary Pickford's Fighting Mad continued. Here's a color ad for old. So this is where the money was spent, because here is a full color ad for Old Goat cigarettes. Look at that. Wow. And Rudy Valley, famous crooner. And on March 7th, 1927, Old Goats were introduced in Illinois. Today, the city of Chicago alone smokes nearly 3 million a day. Here's a pink and white and black ad for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and it's a movie called Good News, and we saw a blurb for it a few pages ago. At last, the great Broadway hit comes to the talking screen. So here's basically a pull-out movie poster for Good News. Very cool. More of Makintalkie, a wrinkle cream, neat hair remover. Yeah, the legs and armpit hair removal had just come into vogue. They were emulating what they saw on the screen. Hasn't your daughter a right to be told? The easy way is to give her the booklet. Oh my. This just gives you an idea, once again, of the attitudes of the time. You can't keep your daughter ignorant of physical facts. She feels the need to know. Surely she deserves to be told the real truth rather than be forced to seek any kind of information that friends of her own age can give. In regard to feminine hygiene, she may receive an entirely wrong impression, even a dangerous one. Many people still believe that caustic and poisonous antiseptics are necessary for this healthful, cleanly practice, but the medical profession does not endorse the use of bichloride of mercury and compounds of carbolic acid. Women used to run terrible risks. They were not fully aware how great was the danger of mercurial poisoning, areas of scar tissue, interference with normal secretions. They wanted surgical cleanliness. Before the coming of Zonite, caustics and poisons were the only germicides powerful enough to be effective. Zonite is the modern antiseptic, non-poisonous, non-caustic, for more powerful than any dilution of carbolic acid they may be allowed on the body. And here's some for a free book. Some people are interested solely in stuff like this. So if you are, you're looking at old magazines like this, it's very eye-opening to, this will be funny. They shouted as they said to play U.S. School of Music. Of course I use lipstick, but only once a day, says Marion Nixon. Safe to remove corns. Gets it. World's fastest way. That's like Compound W, I guess. These pictures are for you. 24 of them. All new poses. Size 5.5 by 8 inches. I have a few pictures like this I can show you at some point. These fan pictures for stars. Pretty ankles and calves for $3.75 a pair. A wristwatch for ladies. If you have one single gray hair, mail this coupon. Linnet for the bath for smooth skin. Delatone, the white cream hair remover. Here we go again with the armpits and the legs. This was a relatively new thing. Now I can stand the public gaze. Can you? See? No hair. Her hands lovely as a bride's over after 10 years of housekeeping. 1920, thanks to Lux in the dishpan. Oh, this is interesting. When I got this magazine, someone 90 years ago had made themselves a game of flip faces. And what that is you cut out parts of $500 cup puzzle contest, and they, oh my gosh, there's their entry, 5,000 cup puzzle contest. This was from 3 different magazines. They found the pieces and they put it together, and I have them here. And here it's been between these pages for almost a century. So this is incredibly interesting. Somebody, probably some teenager or young woman, in collecting these magazines actually completed this puzzle, and it's been between these pages for almost 100 years. Kleenex. Here's another one. When you find little things like this, it's beyond cool. It really is, because that's somebody's task that they did, and they tucked in between these pages and forgot about it. And this is someone who's long dead. And here's another one. Pretty cool. It amazes me because I'm working on the game that was started 90 years ago. And I don't know about you, but that almost just makes me speechless. And it is moving, because, I mean, this person did this so long ago, and here it is again, like it just like it was just touched yesterday. So I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and please rate, comment, subscribe. This has been a lot of fun for me. I'm gonna get to answering comments tonight. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow.